I'm sitting in my truck. It's dark. This has nothing to do with building my house, but it's important nonetheless. I have this friend on Facebook that I don't know. I just know who he is. He's an interesting person. Friends him on Facebook. His name is Adam Hernandez. He ran for mayor. And he is not a Republican. And that's cool. He posted something about if you listen to these people, then you are being influenced, or I honestly can't remember exactly what it was. I just remember that I saw the name Joe Rogan and it kind of piqued my interest and made me think, is that really true? Am I really being unduly influenced by Joe Rogan to be a Republican, which I'm not? So I went back and I looked at Joe Rogan's podcast, at the different episodes, who's been on there. And of course, I listened to the Elon Musk episode recently. I listened to the J.D. Vance episode. I listened to the Donald Trump episode even, which I would, if you haven't listened to it, you should listen to it. And Kamala Harris was not on there. But she was invited, but she decided not to go on there. But I looked back a little bit, and there was John Fetterman episode a few months ago. And you can see I'm talking with my hand. I'm sorry. It's just something I do. Okay. In full disclosure, I listened to the John Fetterman episode today. I listened to it for the express purpose of being able to say that Joe Rogan is not biased. Okay, whether Joe Rogan is biased or not, I don't know. I went into the episode, I listened to the beginning of it, and I had a skewed perspective of John Fetterman before I listened to it. Okay, I thought that it was going to be a bad episode. I thought that John Fetterman was an idiot. I thought so many things. Okay, and the episode began, and Joe Rogan is talking to John Fetterman, and Joe Rogan would ask a question, and John Fetterman would answer a totally different question, as if he didn't even hear the question that Joe Rogan was asking. And I was like, everything I knew to be true was right. That is true. But then I kept listening. And maybe 20 minutes in, something like that, John Fetterman said, "Hey, can we pause for a second?" And Joe Rogan said, "Sure." And Joe Rogan said, "Would you tell everybody what's happening?" And John Fetterman said in the interview, "Hey, I had this stroke. We talked about it already. And I have trouble, not necessarily with hearing, but from hearing, from stuff going from my ear to my brain." And so he uses an app that translates speech to written dialogue, and he reads that, and then he answers the question, which is totally cool. And there was some kind of a problem with the iPad, and that's why he was answering in such a way. And I kept listening to the episode, and I have to say, okay, number one, Joe Rogan, although some people may say that he's biased, I don't think that he is. I know that he's a Republican, but I would like to have heard his interview with Kamala Harris had it ever happened. I appreciate that he had John Fetterman on. He's had other Democrats on, and that's cool. That's the first thing. The second thing is, although I don't agree with everything that John Fetterman has ever said or done, he's a very normal guy. He's relatable. And he's not an idiot. And And he talked about things that a lot of people don't talk about. He talked about depression. He talked about things that need to change in politics. And there are things that need to change on both sides. Things that he thinks that will never change because of both sides. Like immigration being a good talking point, and that's why it will never get solved, and things like that. And the whole reason that I'm saying any of this is to say, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or a Libertarian or a Green Party or whatever you are, vote for Vermin Supreme. It doesn't matter, but at least be open to listening to somebody that has a different viewpoint than you, as Joe Rogan did. He doesn't agree with everything John Fetterman did or said, but he listened and he asked questions. And same thing with John Fetterman. Like I said, I don't agree with everything that he said. I don't agree with everything that he's done or everything that he's voted on, but I have a lot of respect for him because he's a normal person. He doesn't, in his own words, he doesn't look like a politician. He doesn't talk like a politician. And a lot of times he doesn't vote as even a Democrat would vote. And so I don't know what Adam Hernandez might have to say about that. But I'd listen to him say it anyway. And you should listen to that episode. You should listen to Joe Rogan. I appreciate his podcast when I drive a lot, which is a lot of work I've been doing is out of town. Then I listen to Joe Rogan, and it's great. It has nothing to do with building my house. That's okay. We're still on day 18 or 19 of building my house, even though nothing happened today. Just listen sometimes. I'm still in my truck. I just got home, sitting in the driveway of my apartment. And I don't know if you've realized this or not, but I've been using this platform to help me personally speak better. I don't know if you've ever done this kind of therapy before, but whenever you take a video of yourself and you go back and watch it, then I think it helps you to speak better next time. A lot of people, when they speak, even though they don't know it, including me, especially me, a lot of people say things like, and those things that just make their way into your speech. They don't have to be there. They serve no purpose. They're almost like a pause for your brain to catch up with your mouth. Unfortunately, God made it so that things can flow from your mouth much faster than they flow correctly from your brain. I believe I've come to realize that. And see? That was a total accident. But oh my gosh, it's terrible. But anyway, at some point in the future, it may be beneficial for me to be able to speak to large amounts of people or small amounts of people or whoever I can run into normally, and to be able to speak and communicate in a clear way. And that's part of what I'm working on, and I appreciate all of your patience. And for those of you that at least start the video and don't finish it, or totally finish it, that's cool too. I'm very glad, and that's part of why I'm doing what I'm doing.